What's up? It's your girl Janessa, and this is Find Your Wild with a Y podcast. The first episode of Find Your Wild podcast. So today we're going to talk about a couple different things: corporate America, hustle culture, all that kind of shit, right? So what is hustle culture? We use this term so freely. We use hustle, hustle, hustle in everything that we do. If you're watching, there's a hustle sign behind me. I'll kind of explain that. But what the hell is this hustle culture? So I did a little digging and I found a couple different definitions. They're all essentially the same thing. But the idea of it is that hustle culture, also known as burnout culture, we don't like to call it that though, but it essentially is about work dominating your time in such an unnatural way that you have no time to live our lives, right? So it's work, 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 work. The more you work, the more you're going to make. That does not translate though. So many people talk about hustle culture and they, I'm such a hustler, like wear it like a badge of honor, which is great. If you hustle, that's great, but you have to hustle in the right way. And I will kind of go over this at the end of this podcast. But what I mean by that, social media amplifies this as well. Hustle, hustle, hustle. I love Peloton, and that's what they always are talking about. Hustle, girl, hustle. Depending on who you ride with or run with or whatever. And it's not an awful definition. It's really not. You do want to be a hustler to some degree, right? And in the right context. And some people use this constant hustle culture to avoid dealing with difficult emotions, which I will talk about from my own experience. It's also kind of romanticized in our American culture, right? And then some people are on autopilot, so they don't even realize that they are in the burnout. They just are constantly going, going, going. This is what they're used to. They're so in a fight or flight state that they don't know any different. This is their norm, right? I'm going to kind of share my story and will help you understand why I'm so passionate about this. I am very competitive. I'm a hard worker. I got that from both of my parents. They both worked in the corporate world and then they owned some of their own businesses. And I saw that growing up, very hard work and lots of integrity, just good people. And I always thought that's kind of what you had to do. I never wanted to do that. I have more of like a creative brain and I don't like to follow the rules. If you know me, I don't like to follow all the rules. So that is a challenge when you work for corporate America because they have the rules and they want you to follow them all the time, even if they don't make sense. They don't want a challenge. They don't want a suggestion. They want you to follow the rules that they've made, and that is it. So I've worked in sales for decades, and I felt like, the more you worked, the more you make. That's not true. And it may possibly be true in certain circumstances, but for corporate America, that is not the case. If you have a salary and you work more than your neighbor or your coworker, they get the same salary as you, you're not making any more money. So in sales, there is a truth to that, but also there's a part where you need to work smarter. So it's not about burning yourself to the ground for a corporation. That's the hustle. That's not hustle. Unfortunately, that's the fake hustle we've been sold, and that's not the truth. So I'll continue with my story here. I was always thinking about customers and how I could help elevate their business. I worked in the aesthetic industry for my last position, but again, in sales. So I covered 3 states and I loved all my accounts. I loved helping them grow their business. That was some of the most fun parts of my job, was helping them grow and get creative with their business, right? I was successful. I won trips. I won awards. I won fancy jewelry, made a lot of money. I was a sales trainer, led a team. I was always working, always working. I didn't know how to do anything less than 100% because if you know me, which my friends will vouch for that, I don't know how to do like a half-ass. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I don't know how to do anything part way. So that's again to my own detriment. I would take ownership of that. But corporations love that. They love those kind of people that would just work, 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 little workhorses. I guess that's what they call them, like worker bees, right? They love that. The more you work, the more the more money you generate for them, and they don't even have to pay you anymore because you're just willing to work so much for them. So, if you can see me right now, I currently have alopecia, and I will kind of explain my story in that because it goes hand in hand with this whole corporate world. I Alopecia started for me in March of 2020. That's when I started this new job. And then shortly after that, well, first let me back up. I started this new job thinking that would require less travel. I previously had 5 states and I was gone again all the time. I was rounding with doctors in certain situations and it just was a lot, you know. So I needed less time away from my family. Took this position, thought it would be great, less travel, fun products, seemed like a great company. Shortly after I took this new position, my dad was diagnosed with a rare form of terminal cancer, and then everything just fucking spiraled. So here we go. I was already burnt out for my previous job. Like I said, 5 states, always traveling. It was a lot. And so I come over to this new company and realize, holy shit, I have a crazy narcissistic manager. I have never met anybody like this in my life. And I have never worked for anybody like this in my life. Like, I'm talking batshit crazy. So I'm starting to lose my hair. I have a psycho manager, and my dad is diagnosed with terminal cancer, right? I yeah, it just was honestly a recipe for disaster. So my body was giving me all kinds of clues, and I just kept going. I just ignored it, right? It'll be fine. It'll heal itself. By August of 2020, right? So March 2020, start losing my hair, small patches. By August of 2020, I had no hair on my head. And then my dad passes away in September of 2020. And then every hair on my body is gone. Not one hair. Not peach fuzz, not an armpit hair, not an eyelash, not an eyebrow, nothing. It was all gone. And guess what, guys? I just kept going. I just kept working because it was easier for me to throw myself into work rather than deal with the loss of my dad, who was literally like my twin, you know, in both the bad ways and the good ways. And then dealing with being a bald woman, which is its own issue to deal with, right? I I own it and I am totally fine with it. And this is me, this is who I am. But transitioning into that, and then I have 3 kids, 2 that are younger, and trying to help them navigate through the things that kids say, because I do look different and they say a lot of the things that adults think. So I don't think that it's a mean, kids aren't mean. I hate when people say that. That's a learned behavior, in my opinion. They just say things that they see, right? They say things that adults think that they don't say out loud, and I look different. I realize that. So I just wanted my kids to be able to navigate that. They've done a great job with that. Anyways, lots of big factors happening. And guys, I just kept going. I was successful, but the whole time my body was screaming for my attention. My family time was being sacrificed because I was constantly gone. So I had to lean on neighbors to help get my kids to school, my mom, family, and I was just in fight or flight. I was missing like kids' school events because of work, and I just kept going until one day in 2024. I had asked for about a year to have help with my current territory. I asked for an assistant because I brought in over $2 million a year, and most of the other territories had an assistant to help with some of that. They said no. Okay. So then I said, what about breaking up my territory, maybe taking one state away? No, we can't do that. And I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting because I feel like I've done a whole lot and not asked for anything in return, and I can't get any help. Okay. So I'm already frustrated. and I'm starting to listen to my body like, okay, I'm doing all the things and nothing is helping. So I go to the doctor, do some follow up labs, and she says, okay, you are showing signs of Hashimoto's, and that is not good. I didn't have any of that 2 years prior, not even a year prior. So all of a sudden, here we go. This is what happens when you don't manage stress, and starts to manifest into different things, right? I just lost it. I was so frustrated. She even knew, you exercise, you do all these healthy things, you take care of yourself, you eat healthy. I mean, we have a far infrared sauna. I was juicing celery every morning. I was doing detox smoothies, eliminating coffee because there's mold in a lot of coffee beans. If you guys don't know that, do a little research. And which they said was triggering more inflammation. And exercising, reducing consumption of certain foods that trigger inflammation, meditating. I mean, you name it, I was doing it. And I'm like, what the hell? This is ridiculous. So the doctor said, this is the one thing that you can't control, the one thing that you're not, that isn't, well, it's partially in your control, but stress is a huge trigger for you, the stress that's coming from work. That's the one thing that you need to maybe step away from. So she suggested I take a medical leave. And I thought, okay, maybe I do that. Maybe I just take a little break, let my body heal, like do some reflection, and then I go back. Well, my company did not support that. So they were like, oh, that's cute, but no, we're not going to pay you. So I said, okay, I'm just going to, you know what? Fuck you. I'm taking a medical leave, and I'm going to take it unpaid and unsupported because that's the way that it was. And I did that. And I started reflecting as I kind of worked through this, right? I had worked so fucking hard for them. And I thought, what am I getting in return? You don't even support my health. I mean, I've lost my hair through working at this company, and I never asked for time off, and you don't support this. Okay. So I got to do a lot of reflection. And my husband and I are walking one day, and he said, don't you think that it's strange that you've taken a break from work and your hair started growing back? And I said, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like, I didn't want to believe that maybe was the trigger. I thought maybe it was a coincidence. But after 4 years of not one hair on my body, I started having patches come in on my head. And then my eyelashes started filling in. I'm like, that's weird, but okay. And so this is about 2 months in. My mom's like, why would you even go back? You see what your body is telling you, and you see what the company has told you as well, that they don't support you. So what are you going back to? And I'm like, you know what? What am I going back to? I'm done. I am absolutely done. At this point, I had looked into like doing digital marketing, digital products. I was having fun with that. Try like getting into my creative side and helping other people. In high school, I was a certified nursing assistant. So I would help, older people in the nursing homes and also in the hospital. And I love that. I wanted to be a nurse. I actually want to be a nurse practitioner and work in the NICU with the babies. But then I realized I cannot be trapped in a hospital all day long. And if a baby died, I'm too much of an empath. I don't know if I could deal with that. So I decided to go a different route. And that's total sidebar, but I just always have loved helping people. I did that just throughout my lifetime, right? I was the song leading captain for my song team. If you don't know what that is, it's a mixture between cheer and dance. So we would always say it's the best of both worlds. The cheerleaders didn't agree with us, and neither did the dance team, but whatever. So I was a captain of that. I was the president for my international school when I lived in Italy. And I was intro manager several times. I was a sales trainer. I just always was taking these leadership roles, but I just for somebody else, right? Helping other people, but not within my own business. So this was kind of eye-opening. I just started reflecting on all of this, and I thought, you know what? I am being completely unsupported here. Why? How could I go back to a company like that? And so I said, you know what? Both middle fingers, go fuck yourself. And I left. I just quit. I'm the breadwinner, like I said, and I it became abundantly clear that corporate America did not give a shit about me or my health. They just wanted me to bring in the money, and I was good at doing it. So I don't entirely blame them, but I do think you should take care of your employees. So, moral of the story, I quit and my hair just started to come flooding in. So, this is just as of April, but I have, you know, a ton of hair on my head, full eyelashes, body hair again, which I'm not excited about. But as soon as I left what was essentially poisoning me, this hustle culture, my body just started thanking me like, oh my gosh, it's like everything just started flowing again, right? So I just realized that for me, and for so many people, and I cannot tell you how many women I talk to on a daily basis, whether it's a mom from my kid's school, whether it is someone from social media, whether it's a neighbor that I'm talking to about whatever they do. I just had this conversation yesterday. So many women are burnt the fuck out of this hustle culture. It is almost impossible to juggle health in a healthy way, family, a corporate career, self-care, and everything else in between. The demand of corporate America is out of control, and what you get in return is not anything beneficial, right? You can climb that corporate ladder, but they'll let you go in a second. You are just a number. You're there to fill a spot, to bring in money, and then if they don't need you anymore, bye. So that became abundantly clear. I was then able to become present, be more present for my kids, volunteer at their school. My husband, I was excited to cook again. I was excited to garden again. I started drawing again. My life just kind of um, became mine again. And I had all these memories of what I would dream about when I was a kid. And it just felt wild to even think about that. Like, oh my gosh, I remember I wanted to do this, this, and this. I remember I would visualize this dream home when I was a kid. And then I would think, oh, that's not really realistic. But now, if I could tell my younger self, like, girl, go for it. Fuck what's realistic, because there's no such thing as what's realistic. What's being told to us right now is go to school, get a career, retire at 60. Now I think it's 67 with use your 401k for retirement. No, 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 no. That doesn't work anymore. We are not in that age. So this is kind of where this podcast came into play. I talk about this all the time with my friends, with my family. And I was like, what could I do to create a space where people can feel heard and not feel like they're alone? They can realize that this is not normal. This world that we're being sold, especially in America, I'll step back. Like I said, I was the president of our international school when I lived in Italy. When I was there, I want to say it was like 20, oh man, I can't even remember. 2003? Yeah, I think that's what it was. They do not function like us, and they will tell you straight up, we are solely focused on work here in America. Like when you ask somebody in Italy what they do, they don't tell you what they do for work. They tell you what they do for fun. They are not defined by their job. And if you notice that, you talk to people when you meet them, it's like, oh yeah, what do you do for work? Oh, what do you do for work? But the, part of the problem is probably because most of our time is spent more at work than it is with our own family. If you think about it, 9 to 5, let's just call it a 9 to 5 job. 9 to 5, you're at work. And then you come home. So let's say you have a 30-minute commute, right? So 5:30, you get home. You've got to make dinner, get the kids clean, get them in bed, and you're exhausted. Then it's like most people probably turn on Netflix or one of the streaming TV things, or you get on Instagram and you scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, go through Facebook, and it's just like mind numbing, right? Because you're so tired, you can't even think about anything else. That's sad. That is not the way that we're supposed to live. We're, especially as a mom, you're not supposed to be. I truly do believe that it has changed the dynamics of families, right? Kids are being raised by daycares and some of them on their own and maybe with help from neighbors. It just really should not be like that because people are burning the candle at both ends. And we are a very sick society. So I digress. This is kind of why I created this podcast, because I wanted this to be an experience for people. I want to bring on people here who have been in the situation. I want people to tell their stories. I want people to give advice. I want people to provide resources. I want to be able to provide humor. And I just want it to be a place where everybody feels heard and has a takeaway from it. But in order to move forward from your current situation, you have to be able to recognize that you are in burnout, right? So, like I said, there are so many people that are functioning on this autopilot where that's your norm, but it's really not normal. So what are some signs of burnout? Okay, I'm just going to list 10. There's a ton. Unfortunately, there are really a ton. Like I said before, your body manifests stress and burnout in different ways. So we're going to kind of just run through a couple of them. Chronic fatigue, always feeling tired. Even if you got a full night's sleep, you're just constantly drained. You are not fulfilled in your life. I've seen this quote so many times, and I'm not going to quote it exactly, but essentially, if you never work a day in your life if you're essentially doing something that you love, right? And you're tired because you're not doing anything that you love. If you're in a cubicle, which not everybody's in a cubicle, I wasn't. I don't really even know the cubicle life. First of all, I'm a Sagittarius and I have ADHD. I'm not about that life. I would drive everybody nuts. So, chronic fatigue. If you're constantly feeling drained and you're constantly tired, but you get a full night's sleep, that is red flag. Okay. Insomnia, difficulty sleeping, difficulty falling asleep. That is red flag number 2. Physical symptoms. So frequent headaches. You're constantly tense, right? I was always so tense in my shoulders. I'd get a massage and my neck, and they would be like, oh my God, what the hell is going on? It's just constant muscle tension. Red flag number 3. Okay. Decreased performance, a noticeable decline in productivity or quality of work, right? Often accompanied by feelings of inadequacy or incompetence. So you're just not performing at the same level. Red flag number 4. Emotional exhaustion, feeling emotionally drained and unable to cope with your daily work demands. Red flag number 5. Oh, I'm sorry. That is number 6. And cynicism and detachment, right? Everything's just sarcastic. You're kind of detached from your work. You don't really care. Lack of motivation. You just don't really feel motivated. You're not that excited to go to work, and you just kind of feel indifferent towards work tasks. Maybe you were motivated in the past, but you're just kind of like, I'm here just to check the box. Another red flag. Increased irritability, becoming more easily frustrated and irritable. Okay, guys, this was me. I was real snappy with my kids, real snappy with my husband. I just was fucking exhausted and burnt out. And I just didn't want to listen to my body. But guys, another red flag. Loss of interest kind of goes hand in hand with lack of motivation, but just kind of this would maybe bleed more into your personal life, right? Like your hobbies that you love to do before, you're just so tired. You're not really that excited to do them anymore. And I'll give you an example. I love gardening. Last year, I didn't get my garden started until July. If you are in gardening, you know that's very late. I just was constantly gone, like I said. And then I'd come home and I'm like, oh my God, that's so much work to do a garden. Got to go get all the plants, and then I got to plant them and water them and do all the things. And that's what I love to do. Another red flag. The last one would be forgetfulness and difficulty concentrating. So you're struggling to focus. You're struggling to remember tasks. You are really having a hard time making decisions. That's red flag number 10. Okay. Those are just 10 examples of signs of burnout. So please be cognizant of that. Please be aware of that. Listen to your body. Trust me, it tells you when you need to stop. It tells you if something needs to change. This just kind of leads me into, I harped on hustle culture pretty hard and how toxic it is and what that looks like, how it manifests into different symptoms, right? But is hustle bad in general? No, it's not. In my opinion, if you're building a business, you need to hustle. You have to absolutely hustle to build that business. You need to be able to put in the work up front. It's going to be hard in the beginning. It's a lot more work in the beginning than it is once you get the systems up and running, right? There is a learning curve when you're trying to build a business. You don't have somebody telling you what to do. You have to hold your own self accountable, which coming from sales is that was an easier transition for me because I don't go into an office. I don't have a checklist of things to do. I mean, essentially I do, but I do it on my own time. So there also are going to be moments of burnout when you're building a business, and you have to be able to recognize that. You have to be able to step back, and you have to be able to say, okay, what do I need to do here? Do I need to slow down? Do I need to spend more time with my family? Do I need to do a little self-care? Do I need to delegate some tasks to people? But just understanding that and recognizing what that looks like is also a game changer, because you will have burnout when you start your own business. And I'll just kind of reference this hustle sign behind me, because my husband had that made as a birthday gift. It's a light up sign that says hustle, if you can't see it. And because I just was constantly going, if you give me a number to hit, I will hit it. That's just the way that I work. So it's not a bad thing. It's just about balancing and hustling for yourself, not for a company. So if you're constantly hustling for someone else, you are building their business. You're not building your business. So that is a false purpose. If you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm hustling, I'm helping create this business, they'll let you go in a heartbeat. All that hustle, what do you have to show for that? Your job's gone, right? You have trophies, maybe you won some trips, maybe you have some cool jewelry, but that hustle to build a corporation is a false purpose. You need to find hustle for something that you're passionate about. Don't hustle for someone else's career, for someone else's business where you're just a number. Trust me, it's not going to work out well. So, like I said, hustling for the right purpose is okay. And that is needed in a lot of situations. And life is always about a balance. I always say this, life is about balance, right? But not a balance as a 50-50, because that's almost literally never going to happen. You're going to be 80% focusing on your business, 20% focusing on your family. And then there may be times where you're 70% focusing on your family, 30% focusing on your business. It's just about meeting yourself where you're at throughout the transition that you're going through. And I'm talking about building a business. This is really applicable for any time in your life. But as far as corporate America goes, I would not say put that in front of your family. I would, I mean, I I don't know how to do, like I said, less than 100%. But if I could tell anybody or my old self, don't do it. Just don't give 100% of yourself to corporate America and leave little to nothing left for the people who matter in your life. So, I mean, that's just my perspective on hustle. Like I said, it's not a bad word. I don't want to vilify it. It's a fantastic word. You need to hustle. If you're trying to, even outside of business, if you're trying to meet exercise goals, you want to be able to hustle for those, but hustle for the right reasons. Don't hustle in vain. Don't hustle for a false purpose. Hustle for you, hustle for your family. Don't hustle for corporate America. So I'm going to make this one kind of short and sweet. I just wanted to pop on here and talk about this toxic hustle culture, give my feedback on it, because I do feel so passionate just because of my own personal story and testimony. And I have just been having this conversation over and over and over. And I was at a birthday party yesterday with a neighbor, and she was talking about, she's a manager and she covers a couple different states, but she has 8 reps and she's just trying to figure out how to balance the travel and the work. And she just is exhausted. She's tired. And I'm just sitting there smiling. Yep. Yep. Because my close girlfriends know kind of what I'm doing behind the scenes. And so they're giving me little smirks, but I'm just, every single day, it's the same conversation. It's the same conversation about burnout, trying to find balance. How do I get more time with my family? I'm constantly tired. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get out of this. So I am going to provide you guys with resources moving forward on how to get yourself out of these situations, how to build a business that you're passionate about, and basically how to separate yourself from the shit show we call corporate America. So I just want to make sure, my final thoughts, make sure everybody kind of know what you're hustling for. Like I said, are you hustling in vain? Are you just giving up your time and energy to corporation where you're just a number and then your family gets the leftovers? That's not fair. That's not what we're here to do. We aren't put on this earth to be worker bees and then give our family shit leftovers. Okay? Not what we're here to do. Make sure that if you're working for corporate America in that hustle culture, please take a step back. Please. I'm begging you to please take a step back. Reassess your situation. Realize even that if you're even the top performer, if you're the VP, if you're a regional manager, if you're the best customer service rep that they have, you are just a number. They will let you go without hesitation. Without hesitation, okay? If you're building a business and you're burnt out, take a step back. Prioritize. What is most important to you? Do some self-care. Talk to somebody. Have a mentor. Have a mentor that's years ahead of you, who's made all the mistakes. Learn from their mistakes and feel confident in your conversation with them and trying to understand what that looks like. Can I reiterate? Build a business that's yours. Don't hustle for corporate America. Okay. And finally, I just want to acknowledge that the American dream of working I'm doing air quotes, safe job, right? A 9 to 5 with your 401k, retiring at 65, which it's not even the real number anymore. I think it's 67. I'll have to double check. That doesn't work anymore. Okay. Times have drastically changed. Family dynamics have changed. Our priorities as individuals and families have changed. There's a different way to do things. Okay. We're all functioning on this old school way of doing shit, and it's not the way to do it anymore. We are in a digital age. You can literally build anything online, anything. And I mean anything from anywhere. You could do this sitting in Morocco. You could do this sitting on a beach in Greece. You can build a business digitally anywhere. We are in a wild time in this life. And there is no reason for people to say that you are stuck. Build this while you're working for corporate America. Build it slow, build it fast, however you want to do it, but just build it and take a chance. You have to start. I say this on my Instagram all the time. You have to start. Stop consuming. We're all consumers, but you want to be a doer more than you are a consumer. Stop consuming. When it's the right moment, I'll do it. When it's the right moment, it's just not right now. I just don't have the money. You've got to start somewhere. Okay. If you are uninspired, it's okay. If you're scared, it's okay. You still make the change into the unknown, because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help everybody find something that they're passionate about, find your gift for other people, help you find how you can build a business out of that, and really, literally, what the fuck lights your soul on fire? What do you love to talk about? What are you so passionate about? You just get so excited when people want to talk about things or that specific thing. Like I said, mine is gardening. Mine is helping people. I love to have deep conversations. Surface level is not my jam. That is exhausting to me. If you want to talk about, I don't even know. My friends know this is like my jam. I love to talk about all things crazy and deep. So you want to talk about the universe, you want to talk about the stars, you want to talk about the moon and the cycles of the moon, you want to talk about plants, you want to talk about the Mayan temples. Let's talk about all this fun stuff. But that's my job. That's why I'm here. That's why I created this platform. I want people to feel like there are resources in here. And so my goal moving forward is to help everybody find what they're passionate about, learn from my story, take those pieces away, and understand that your body is telling you something. Please, please, please listen to it. Don't do this hustle culture for another corporation. Hustle for yourself. Give your family what they deserve and what they need. Don't give them the leftovers. So I'm here, like I said, find your passion, find what you're super excited, find what you're lit up about. I'm here to help you find your wild. As always, thank you so much for your time, because at the end of the day, that's the most important currency we have. I hope you took something away from today's episode. Don't forget to follow me at Find Your Wild with a Y on all your socials, as well as following the podcast on any of the platforms that you listen to. And most importantly, I hope you are one step closer to finding your wild.